to 5.13, where we'll be looking at this HL-specific standard of limits and L'Hopital's rule, how we could evaluate limits using L'Hopital's rule. And L'Hopital's rule comes up when we see that we have this indeterminate form, when our limits come out to the form of 0 over 0 for whatever reason. So let's get started with some examples. The most prototypical example is what we see here. They usually like to start off with this example in particular, sine of theta over theta. What we see was also in the standards guide. I'm also giving you the graph just to know what the answer should be. Now, if you look at the graph, visually, we could see that we should get an answer of, let's see, this is approaching 1 from both sides, right? So we should get an answer of 1. But the question is, what happens if we weren't given this graph? What happens if all we had was this numerical example? It was a non-calculator part 1 problem. We have to be able to show our work. What do we have to do? So with a limit, the first step is we want to simply substitute in the value that we're approaching. So this will be, in this case, sine of 0 over 0. Sine of 0 is equal to 0. We get 0 over 0. We see that that's the form that we need. That is this indeterminate form. And as a result, indeterminate, we could apply L'Hopital's rule. And how do we apply it? So L'Hopital's rule says that once we get into this indeterminate form, we could try taking the derivative of the numerator and the denominator separately. Right? So I should be doing d dx or d d theta of sine of theta over d d theta of theta itself. And remember, not to be confused, right? There's no quotient here. You're taking the numerator and the denominator separately. You shouldn't mix yourselves up with the quotient rules from other standards. When you're using L'Hopital's rule, you're differentiating the numerator and the denominator separately, right? You're not taking the derivative of the whole thing. So, for example, in this problem here, what is the derivative of sine of theta? Well, it is cosine of theta. The derivative of theta itself with respect to theta will be 1. And now we could try plugging it again. We're going to plug in that 0. That's what my limit was approaching. So it's going to be cosine of 0. Cosine of 0 we know is equal to 1, which explains our answer that we see there. And right, so here we don't actually see the hole that is really there. Right, it's really not defined at that point. Right, it's indeterminate. But based on so the function was not defined. The limit, if we just substitute in, was indeterminate. But based on L'Hopital's rule, we see that the actual limit is 1. Let's get some more practice. Question 2, a similar problem, right? Sine of something over x squared plus x. I plug in 0. I get back, let's see, sine of 0 over 0 or 0 over 0, right? That leads to 0 over 0, indeterminate. As a result, apply L'Hopital's rule. I will differentiate, therefore, the numerator, d dx of sine of 2x. That's going to be equal to cosine of 2x. Apply the chain rule, times 2. Divided by, right, it's going to be over d dx over d dx of x squared plus x. That's going to become 2x plus 1. And now I try to take the limit of these two, of the ratio of the derivatives. So I will start by substituting in the 0. We end up with 2 cosine of 0 over 2 times 0 is 0, 1. What is cosine of 0? Cosine of 0 is, again, 1. 1 times 2 is 2. This one here has an answer of 2. So this equals 2. And L'Hopital's rule illustrated that, or showed it to us. Question 3, let's get a little bit different. We'll add in some radicals here. We're approaching 3 at this time. Try it yourselves and see if your work and answers match up with mine. And assuming that you have done so, let's see. I would start off by plugging in. I plug in, I get back 0 on top. I get back on the bottom. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 4 is 16. 16, take away 4. Square root of 16 take away 4 is equal to 0 over 0. Indeterminate. As a result, we could use L'Hopital's rule. What do? Right, again, we know we take the derivative of the top. That's going to be, derivative of the top will be dx of x minus 3. That's equal to simply 1. I take the derivative of the bottom, dx, and I'll already start writing this in exponent radical form. So 4x plus 4 to the 1/2 power. It's going to be a little bit easier for me to take the derivative. What is the derivative of this? Well, that negative 4, that minus 4 is going to, will cancel out. Well, the derivative of negative 4 is 0. And now I could just take the derivative of 4x plus 4 to the 1/2 power. So the 1/2 comes down. And 4x plus 4 stays the same. And then that 1/2 subtract 1 is negative 1/2. And chain rule says that this should also be multiplied by the derivative of the 4x plus 4 function, so by 4. And now let's see what we are going to end up with. So on top we had 1. On the bottom we have 4 times 1/2, or 2, times 4x plus 4 to the negative 1/2 power. And now I could try plugging in, I'm going to try plugging in the number that we were approaching earlier, which was 3. I plug in 3, and what do we get back? 1 over 2 times 3 times 4 plus 4, or 16 to the negative 1/2 power. And that's going to come out to, let's see, 1 over, let's see, what is 16 to the negative 1/2 power is equal to 1 over the square root, 1 over 16 to the 1/2 power, which is the same thing as 1 over square root of 16. The square root of 16 is equal to 4. This becomes 1 over 2 over 4. What is 1 over 2 over 4? That there is equal to 4 over 2, or 2. Our final answer. So based on L'Hopital's rule, we see that that was equal, that comes out equal to 2. Based on taking the derivative, we first substituted in, we saw we got 0 over 0, and then we took the derivative of the top and the derivative of the bottom. Theoretically, right, you could have possibly, if you had the option, solved this also by taking the conjugates of each. Some of you might have seen taking the conjugate of the denominator in this case. You would have gotten the same answer. But using L'Hopital's rule, we see that we were able to get the answer equal to 2. And L'Hopital's rule is often a catch-all for limits of indeterminate form. Now let's get an example here of x approaching infinity, and try it yourselves. It's maybe a little bit trickier. You have to do a little bit more work. But once you see what is required of us, then it becomes a little bit pretty easy, actually, once you see what we have to do. So here, when we're approaching infinity, we're going to get to the form infinity over infinity if you set it up right. And also you see that we're going to have to take L'Hopital's rule multiple times, repeat times, which is also an option. So let's try number 5. So first off, I'm going to set this up as x cubed over e to the positive x. All right, those two things are equal. X cubed over e to the positive x. And now as x approaches infinity, what am I going to have? Well, I substitute in, I get infinity cubed over e to infinity. And we see that both of these are equal to infinity, right? So this is infinity over infinity. Indeterminate. As a result, we could use L'Hopital's rule. So L'Hopital's rule, if I spelling his name right, let's jump up. Yes. Right, it's French, so I'm probably mispronouncing what his name actually is, or how his name actually sounded, but nonetheless. So we got to the point where x cubed over e to the x, right, is the same as that original function. We see when we plug in infinity, it's infinity over infinity, meaning we could use L'Hopital's rule. I differentiate the top, d dx of x cubed over d dx of e to the x. X cubed is going to become 3x squared, and e to the x becomes, or stays, e to the x. And now we plug in infinity again, and what happens? We get infinity over infinity again. Still indeterminate. And therefore, we could use L'Hopital's rule again. So now I will do dx of 3x squared over dx of e to the x. That's going to become now 6x over e to the x. I plug in infinity again. As we see, it's still going to be infinity, right, over an infinity, right? 6 times infinity is an infinity. E to the infinity is infinity. You can see where this is going. Therefore, we take the derivative of the top and the bottom one more time. D dx of both sides. And we end up with 6 over e to the x. And now, right, so point up and we got to the point where we're at 6 over e to the x. If I take this limit as x approaches infinity, which was what we were approaching, what's going to happen now? We're going to have 6 over infinity. This is not of the form infinity over infinity. Rather, we're dividing a number, positive number, by infinity, meaning that this right here is approaching 0. So this limit here is approaching 0, right? So as x approaches infinity of x cubed over, times e to the negative x, we rewrote that in a fraction form. That allowed us to use L'Hopital's rule, and allowed us to get to the point after multiple uses of L'Hopital's rule. We did it twice or 3 times. We got to the point where we were 6 over e to the x, and then when we plug in their infinity, we end up seeing that the limit is approaching the value of 0. So that last question allowed us to see how to use repeated uses of L'Hopital's rule. It also showed us how we might have to set things up or reorganize our terms in order to put it in a fraction form, which would allow us to use L'Hopital's rule. And we got to the point where we had infinity over infinity multiple times, which created the repeat use of L'Hopital's rule. And eventually, we got to the point where the limit was shown to be approaching 0. So that brings us to the conclusion of 5.13. All L'Hopital's rule, intensive use of L'Hopital's rule. We saw multiple questions. Hopefully you're comfortable with this material now, and you'll be ready to move on to 5.14, where we'll be meeting next. See you there, 5.14.